Well, welcome back. This is the fourth of 5 videos exploring Chapter 7 in Wheeler's most excellent book, Security Risk Management. What we're going to do is pick up. Last video we talked about core services. Now we're going to talk about some composite and recommended controls. So we'll start off with those composite services of access control and non-repudiation. So access control, as you might imagine, is to limit access to systems to only authorized users, and it's going to include authentication, authorization, auditing and logging, cryptography, inspection, validation, and filtering of communications, and then policy enforcement services. So as you can see, it's taking advantage of 9 different services associated with those core services, so 9 core services. When you look at non-repudiation, a little bit different. What we're going to do is ensure that if someone sends data and the recipient receives it, neither can deny either sending it or receiving it. So this involves authentication, auditing and logging, and cryptography. It's actually a pretty important service as coupled with financial services like buying a house or buying a stock or selling a stock. All right, so we talked briefly about some composite services. Let's now move into recommended controls. And here, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. There are lots of different standards that are out there. NIST, SANS 20, Corbett, and others, ISO, of course. So don't start from scratch. Don't try to act as if no one has ever thought about this. You can look at those standards, figure out which one is the best fit for the risk environment of your particular organization, and then use that as a framework or an architecture to start applying those. As we look at some of the fundamental controls, so we've moved from composite to recommended controls, and now we're looking at fundamental controls. You want to make sure that you don't have unauthorized access to information, and you don't want to, and definitely not so when there is an operational failure of one of your control mechanisms. You want that kind of separation so that you can add and remove controls and do so without requiring the replacement of major components. You want those controls to be orthogonal. And then finally, you want to leverage control selections made by the previous initiatives so that you can actually manage everything that's going on. So if you're looking at any new security control that's coming in, this ties back to some earlier videos in terms of a default safe state and the ability, modularity. Remember we talked about same kind of core ideas. Here are 3 more. This idea that we want to segment things and have boundary definitions and isolation. So if you're working on a network, you want to split it into different components and perhaps put the Internet of Things traffic on a different network than your research traffic, which is on a different network than your academic and administrative traffic. You don't want to put constraints on the business functionality. Again, we talked about, remember the graphic of someone having to urinate to log into their machine or draw blood. That's going across the line of balancing business functionality with security. And then we want it to always default to the most secure configuration. All right, last 2, you want separations of duties. Change management's always a great example of this. And then finally, enforce the most restrictive set of rights and privileges needed. So working with least privilege on your operations. All right, well, very good. Hopefully this has served as a review because we've covered many of these ideas in the previous chapter. This finishes up this short video looking at recommended controls. What we're going to do in the next video is looking at maximizing ROI on our particular system. So keep on studying, keep on learning, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.